Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get you set up now for a wild card weekend and start out good for this year and get you some good advice here to help you go ahead and get organized, get ready, get yourself started on FanDuel if you want as a beginner, and intermediate help, of course, as well. And looking at the top plays here for this week, we've got some cheat sheets coming out now, some different things, a lot of different trends and player suggestions, as this is a lot more robust here, this program I'm using, than it used to be perhaps a year or two ago. So if we're looking at 4 games, Saturday and Sunday slate, we want to look at here really the best players. These are the top players. Let's go by position. Just makes it a little bit easier for what we need to do. And look at some of our top options. I can organize this in terms of total algorithm ranking here in the far left column, starting at 100. That includes Watson, Trubisky, Prescott. I'm also going to consider Trubisky and Andrew Luck, along with perhaps the best road quarterback enabled to win, I believe, here in this slate. So I haven't looked at the Vegas line. It's still early. It's only Wednesday afternoon. So maybe, check back on my site. I'll provide another posted link on wealthyfantasyfootball.com as far as any updates or changes to these recommendations. But I believe you can go with either Trubisky or Luck here. We don't have to necessarily disclude any of these guys if we don't want, but we can. We have the ability to do that. Let's say we don't want to risk using Foles because he's not probably going to play. I don't know for sure, so I have to check back on that as well. Moving on there to the running backs, of course, we don't want to exclude Elliott. We want to include him as the most highly used back here in this slate. And looking at other guys, Gus Edwards, I believe that running game with Jackson is very hard to stop. It's kind of hard to exclude Jackson, of course, as well. If you want to play him, he's very playable. Other running backs, though, that in this particular instance here, I want to more focus on for this slate. Running backs that have that best, this is the third column on the left side, matchup or fantasy points allowed. Of course, this would include receptions, receiving yards, and of course, as well as the rushing yards and touchdowns, everything included, showing here that the Chargers are the weakest team when it comes to running backs allowing points, of course, to that position. So if you want to, or have to rather, include Kenneth Dixon, even though really showing here his last game was 12 points, before that not so high, he could be playable. Ty Montgomery, because of the split backfield like that, 3 ways, it's kind of unsure as far as what you want to do. But so since the running back is kind of sketchy this week in various ways, I don't know if you want to risk going with some of these other guys. Maybe we'll just take the 2 running backs and leave it at that. Let's move on now to the wide receivers for some interesting plays. Put it in rank of the highest, ranked guys. This really helps you, just to stress again, the beginners, intermediate, even expert level, as I use myself as well, because it helps me track the player pool that I want to have most control over my lineups. If I want to vary them by entering in, let's say, 10 contests, vary by 1 player in each contest, just so that I'm somewhat diversified, that's fine. Okay, so then here, if you want to go with the number 1 option for the Cowboys receiver, that's fine. Let's see how Beasley's been doing. 18 points last game, 8 before that prior to, so he's pretty good. Lockett is always a high efficient receiver. He's been scoring well, doing well, always getting at least 7 or 8 points. T.Y. Hilton, you cannot really go wrong with as long as he plays. We got to put him in there as an option. DeAndre Hopkins, always a consistent value. Keenan Allen. So what will happen is you see you have the flex position open to either running backs, wide receivers, or quarterbacks. And we can even put that option here as well, but we don't really need to. We have them lined up here at the wide receiver position. Just want to also consider Kiki Kuti as a great slot option for that team. So let's see if we have anybody else. Try to wrap this up and not take too long. So I'm just looking for value plays at the tight end position to save some money, as it's the most volatile position as it has been all year, not necessarily looking forward to paying up here. So we can consider, I think, Griffin, Jarwin, and the other guy I'm looking for is coming back off an injury. I don't see him here. He's for the Chargers. As I heard, he might be playing, maybe not, as it's probably the case. So we'll just roll with these two guys and see what we get for optimization. Let's go. So I chose enough wide receivers to where maybe get multiple lineups in here. As this looks good, the Bears defense, always good. They may really get after that Philadelphia weak offense with that quarterback situation. And so you can look to do that. Hilton fitting very nicely into the flex position, saving money, spending down tight end. I like it for this week with Lockett, Cooper, Hopkins, solid core there, and most solid running backs with Trubisky rounding that out. Although that salary is too high. Oh boy. So you do got to drop this down and adjust, which will make you do. You can go down to the Ravens defense if you want. We got to adjust another 2,900. Let's see who we got to drop down to here. Hopefully somebody that we like, that we watched, if possible. No, it looks like that's not going to happen. So we got to find someone else that slides in there. Maybe Naheem Hines. He gets the catches as a third down back. We'll give him a try exactly at 60,000. So with this here, you can of course save it, and then you can go ahead and should be able to give you the option to import this lineup. No, I believe you have to use a mass lineup generator. As you can set this exposure level, let's say max exposure 75% to any player, which will diversify it. If that's your goal, it's fine. Generate lineup as long as we get the amount we want, perhaps 10. Randomness, unique players, 1 per lineup, like I mentioned, that's fine to do. And let's generate that. Just give it a few minutes in progressing here. Not minutes, but rather seconds. So you'll be ready for your wild card, see your lineups here, and then here is where you can export, I believe, the lineups. Yeah, and any one of these, you can just press the right blue button on any one of these lineups, export it to FanDuel, as you'll see there, and how to do that. Just to go to FanDuel real quick and wrap this video up. I entered one here already, but I could go certainly right here if I save that file, enter another lineup. Let's see, upcoming for NFL, right here, CVS, download, choose a file, and boom, you'll be done there. So it makes it easier to get, if you want to get that many or even more lineups, just make it perhaps a lower, whatever you can afford within your budget. That's all I was going to show you here. Instead of relying really on any other kind of source, your best bet, easiest way is getting over to the draft dashboard. Click on the link in the description and get that for the trial run. I believe it's just $1 to get started, and you'll be on your way and getting started there in the wild card weekend. And we'll do the divisional round next week as well to get some of these lineups here generated for yourself as you like, different players throughout the week. All right, take care.